Hello there. We're just getting everything synced up in the background. Zoom's got a little extra slow bits here. Just change it to public so that everybody can see it, and we're ready to rumble here. What's going on here? There we go. Okay, now it's set to public. We should be rocking and rolling. Okay, cool. We'll just put it on the side here so I can see comments, and we're good to go. Hello, everybody. Crazy energy days again, as usual. It just seems to be going deeper and deeper and deeper all the time, and that's okay. So where do we start? So I labeled this, do we have free will? And basically, I want to ask people to start looking into their life and how it works, and little things like what free will is, and what choices do you have in your life, and what choices are forced upon you based on societal requirements, living requirements, how to have a home, how to be able to care for your kids, all these kind of things. We've been programmed into societal conditioning that basically says that certain things are just required. And we can list some of those things. I'll just start listing them. So, okay, you got to make your rent or your mortgage or whatever on your house. You got to pay your utility bill, your gas, water, power, sewer, garbage collection. You got to have a bank account. You got to pay income tax on the money you make. You got to have car insurance. You got to have house insurance, cell phone bills, all these kind of things. So these are to live a Western culture, because some other cultures don't have those exact same things, but to have a Western culture, let's say that's $1,500, $2,000, $3,000 a month for people just to live is what we consider it. Because you can't live unless you have a house, is what society says. And if you're not taking care of your kids, or if you don't have food, and if you're in a colder climate, can you live without electricity or power or internet or those kind of things? So we've been kind of programmed into, here's the baseline of living, let's say. Now, some people fall out of that. My situation, for example, going to very minimalistic, other things, but it's made me aware of how many of those things were critically important and how many of those things were kind of societally required for us to feel safe, to be comfortable, to whatever, to take care of our kids. So just be aware. Okay, so let's say, okay, it's that $1,500 to $3,000 a month that you need in Western culture. I'm speaking to North America. I can't speak to other cultures because I don't know them all. Now, how much of your time, of your free time, of your life is required to make that $3,000? And we can also add in there things like vacations and going on trips and buying nice things for yourself and entertainment and all that kind of stuff. So that number maybe $3,000 or $4,000 or $5,000. How much of your day is spent? So a traditional day, I've worked a career, I was an engineer for many years. So you'd get up at like 7 o'clock in the morning, you'd brush your teeth, have a shower, get breakfast, hop in the car, commute for 15 or 20 or up to an hour kind of thing each way, and then go to work and do your 9 to 5 job. So there's 8 hours of your day. Part of that, yeah, you get some lunchtime and stuff like that. Then you come home, you make some supper, you get food for the kids, you take them to soccer, you take them to all those things. And then you get home, then you got to vacuum the floor and you got to do the laundry and get lunches ready for school tomorrow and all that kind of stuff. So in the end, you can count some of that family time and other stuff as more of your living and your personal life. But there's a whole bunch of tasks between A and B. So let's say on average, we got a 24-hour day. And if you're doing 8 hours of sleep, there's 16 hours left. Probably 12 of that is in making your money. So getting a job, getting to whatever, meeting with other people and that kind of stuff. And then the rest of the time is what? It's now you have for yourself. So 12, so you got on a weekday, you've got 4 hours that is dedicated to family and self after you go to sleep, and some people may sleep a little more or less. Okay, so really 4 hours of your life is by your full personal choice. And now weekends is different because yeah, you'll probably be off and the whole weekend's yours. So that's your living time. But out of 7 days a week, 5 days, you spent at least 12 hours of 16 hours awake doing things. So there's a level set. So now you've done a bunch of stuff that we call is free will, but you had to do it or else you wouldn't have a house. So I just want people to start to understand it. I'm not trying to say that this is bad. I'm just saying that what we're calling free will is much less as a requirement to live, or much more as a requirement to live than it is as completely free will. We make a choice of what we're going to have for a career. We make a choice of what company we work for or whatever. But in the end, you don't get to decide if it's 9 to 5 or whatever. Some boss or somebody else gets to decide. If you're a professional, a lot of times you're 9 to 5, and then you're 2, 3, 4 hours in the evening working overseas or catching up on homework or other stuff. We may call that free will, but we're doing that to get the promotion so that we can make some more money. Well, income taxes and other things are all set on people rising up. I worked and made almost $150,000 a year, and I actually ended up making less money overall with the next tax bracket that came up by getting that high. So it ended up that I was working harder and actually making less. And that's some of the reasons I had to step out of the corporate workforce. So I'm just going to ask you to just look. So how much of that is by personal choice and how much of that is just for survival? And then there's a place in there where it's like, okay, I got to keep up with the bills and I always got to rush harder and I want to get ahead so that I can get out of the rat race or whatever, but I never seem to catch up. The bills start to rise, the taxes, the inflation, whatever. So I'm just wanting you to just get consciously aware of how much of your time is for personal choice. And just start delving into it. Like, okay, if I didn't have to work, if housing wasn't so expensive, if it was a birthright to have a home instead of having to have landlords and all these kind of things, chasing, paying all the interest, all this kind of stuff that's in the middle of it, would you be doing what you're doing? Do you like your career? Or is it required to make money? Is it required to satisfy your rent and all these kind of things? And I'm just trying to get I'm not judging in any way, shape, or form, but I'm just trying to get everybody consciously aware of how much is choice and free will and how much is required to be part of society and to live. And when we're just living, we're so busy in getting stuff done and other things, we stop thinking about ourselves, we stop doing our inner work, and we no longer are really choosing our life. And I want us to understand that we're conscious creators, we're builders, we're whatever. How much of your time do you have where you can actually focus on what you'd love to do? What would really be good? We don't have the opportunity to explore what we love because we have to chase and keep busy to satisfy a owner like your boss, or to get new shoes for the kids or get them to pay college and all these things. So just start to understand how much is free will and how much is satisfying a system. And a lot of people are going to be surprised, and it's not going to feel good, and it's okay to not feel good. But the only way to shift is to start to be aware and understanding how the systems kind of lulled us into satisfying and filling this role in a way. It's not completely within our will, but it's societally accepted that you need to accept this to be able to not rock the boat, to pay the bills, to make your parents think that you're safe and all those kind of things. But how much of it was from free choice? And a lot of people live a whole lifetime. You get to a midlife crisis and you'll just realize you really had no choice. You were just going on a system on the escalator. Now, most of us didn't really have a choice in this. We were just doing it to satisfy things, doing it to get to this dream. And then we got to the point and you found you had a whole bunch of bills and a mortgage and all this kind of stuff. And the dream wasn't coming because the system was kind of fighting against you, and you were never really getting ahead, but you thought you were. So I just want you to go inside and just start to feel that. Okay, if you had free will and you didn't have to satisfy that $3,000 a month or whatever, what would you be doing right now? What if it was a part of living as a being on this planet, that you had a home, you had the power, the water, the whatever, and only the luxuries cost money? Is that not a birthright of a human being? But in this place, if you don't pay the bank on time or whatever, they'll take even if you're $1 away from paying it, they can take your whole house away and keep that money. Who decided that? Who allowed that? When was 19% interest on things as okay? And you're going to start to find out that the world is kind of stacked against us a little bit. And there's a lot of control. There's a lot of things where they're making tons and tons and tons of money off us. If you added up what your interest was in your mortgage and all this kind of stuff over your lifetime, some people are paying like hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe $1 million just to have a house so that you can live. When the house was only $500,000, but you paid $1.5 million for the house over 25 or 30 years. There's a system working behind all this that's taken our free will and made it a requirement to live to service the system. And I just want people to just start to do the numbers and do the math inside and just feel how much is their choice and how much is a requirement, how much is implied that you need to do. And it's not meant to hurt you or whatever. It's just meant consciously to start, because we got on the treadmill, we were rushing so fast, we were so trying to fill the system to be good, to get ahead, to all this kind of stuff. And then when we get along the way, we're realizing that we never did catch up. We never did have a chance. And then you're kind of drowning a little bit. So free will's our birthright. Free will's our birthright. And we need to get back to that mindset inside. How do I get back to free will? How do I get back to choosing and to redesigning a system that doesn't have all those controls in it? And I'm going to guarantee, as a divine creator, if we start asking for that inside, you're going to find something amazing starts to happen, because that's our birthright. We didn't even know we got it. We're human. We came here to not suffer and not struggle. We came here to expand, to be our highest self, to do our passion. How many people throw away our passion to pay the bills, to stop doing the things? So the world that's coming is going to be a place where this is all okay. This is your birthright. It's allowed. Just start asking for it back. My birthright is abundance. My birthright is to have a home without taxes and huge mortgages and debt and all these kind of things. And things are going to start to change. So understand what's free will. Free will should be you choosing from your highest good at all times and not having to make a decision that gets us out of fear of losing our house, of not surviving, not being able to feed our kids, whatever, because that was never meant to happen. It was taught to you that it would, and they built systems because we believe it, but let's reinsert our divine birthright. And that's to have a home, to have free will all the time, to make choices from our heart, and to be creators. So I've talked about a lot here. If things are getting confusing, put some questions down below and we'll go through them. But I love you all. I just want people to just start to be aware how much choice and not choice is. And you're going to find some stuff, and then start asking for your birthrights to be returned. That's what's going on right now. The whole world is changing and people are becoming aware, and this is all going to come back. So I'm just informing you. There's something called the Global People's Monetary System that a gentleman, it's called gpms.world. It's declaring and taking our birthrights back. It's just a little thing that you sign. It says what our divine rights are, and just go on and fill it out. I'll put the link in the bottom, but we just have to get energetically back to taking our birthright. So I love you all. You have a good day. And I wish you well. Thank you.